PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast here on the PLD Project Networks with your host PLD and his hetero life mate over here, Matty Gunner. How you doing, my friend?
I love that has become my my title, even though I'm pretty sure that the great PJ Campbell is probably more of your hetero life mate than me.
Well, you're definitely at least my Star Wars hetero life mate. So let's
I'll
go
take
there.
that. I'm your hetero life day partner.
Hetero life day partner. I think that's what we'll do from now on. I like that. Always evolving, always keeping my toes. That's why I pay you the big bucks, which is, zero. But unfortunately, it's what it is. When I start making money, you'll make money. But other than that, it is what it is. Matty, how you doing, man? What's going on?
I good, mate. I'm good. Life is peachy. Just keeping busy and trying to keep out of trouble. But we're here. How about you? How you doing?
Doing all right. Very, very busy as always. Things going on. Never seems to stop. But that's
always in motion. The future is
absolutely and faster than Yoda ever claimed. To be completely honest with you, but that's okay. I've been doing a lot of watching the stuff lately, trying to get through things that we watched. The ballerina trailer this morning. You saw that? Love that.
Did I see that?
Excited about that. A lot of things coming out that I'm excited about. Life of Chuck got a distribution deal with Neon. I'm excited about that. I'm a big Mike Flanagan fan, of course, as you know. Me and PJ both. And Jeff, we love Mike Flanagan and anything he does. So I'm excited to see that get some broad view out there. Star Wars wise though, haven't done a whole lot this week. I watched a couple of reactions from some people in the old Clone Wars series, which it's kind of a comfort thing for me. I find like every time I watch somebody watch the
people
Clone Wars,
still discovering that.
Yeah. There's a couple channels I watch. I watch Alex Hefner, who's been starting to do it here. He does he did a whole season 3 video where he just reacted to all of season 3. My son loves this channel called Sort of Stupid, and they do a lot of reactions, a lot of stuff that I wouldn't watch necessarily. But
that's a great name for a channel, Sort of Stupid. I like that.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Actually, gotta say, they're pretty good, especially they have loved all the Star Wars stuff. Like the guy just watched someone just watched the entire saga. They watched the original trilogy. Then they watched the prequel trilogy, and they've loved everything so far. They've started the Clone Wars; they're all in right away. So I can't wait for them to get to the actual really good parts of the Clone Wars. As we all know, we love the Clone Wars, but season 1 and 2, little, they're finding their way kind of thing here and there. But they are all in from the get go. So if they're all in from the get go, when it gets really good later on, like the season 3, 4, 5 and beyond, then that's when I'm excited to see them go on that journey. I think it's because I just love positivity in Star Wars. So I'm liking watching these people watch these things and enjoy it, because that's what I do for Star Wars and what we need more of in Star Wars. And think, as you know, we have always something going on, but so that's what I think.
Don't get me started on that today. Today is good. Today is good. We're happy. We're doing something fun.
Mm-hmm.
The new Metal Gear Solid game trailer came out today, so I'm happy.
I'm sure it did, and I didn't watch it. Was it good?
Oh, dude, looks amazing. Looks amazing.
Of course, excited.
It's literally a 1-to-1 of the original Metal Gear Solid 3. It's a complete remake, same voice actors, just a different engine, and I'm just like, yes.
Very nice.
Because we talk about generational change, right?
Right.
Now a new generation gets to play that game for the first time.
Something magical about that, man. There's definitely something magical about that for sure.
Yeah. I'm kind of like how you were with, once Return of the Jedi was gone, I was like, oh, no, we're never going to get any more. After Metal Gear 5, I was like, that's it. We're done. Show's over. What are you still doing here? Go home.
And yet you were wrong. Everything always comes back eventually. That's what always.
It speaks to this one thing, because there was always rumors about it coming back, and it speaks to this whole thing about journalism, right?
Right.
That people will throw shit at the wall to see what sticks, and they'll keep throwing it until it actually happens, and then they'll say, "See, I told you. I told you it was going to happen."
100%.
Imagine there's going to be some Star Wars project that happens in like 20 odd years. That we were like, that's never okay. Let's say Rogue Squadron, for
Right.
example. How we're normally fairly positive about it, but I think that's the one where we're like, yeah, that one's probably
Right.
that they can. But in 20 years, it's gonna happen, and whoever the new Jeff Snyder is gonna be like, see, I told you it happened. I told you it was gonna happen. I told all you guys it was happening. My sources came to me and said that it was gonna happen.
Here are my sources saying we're going to get more Star Wars in the future. That's my sources. I know it's a hot take, but hot take.
Can you quote your sources? Yeah, my sources. I made it the fuck up.
Oh man! All right, let's get into today's episode. As always, we have a topic of the day, and we also break any news down that's been going on for the past week. We did get Force Centered a little bit last week. We recorded on Wednesday. And then Wednesday night, that's when the Entertainment Weekly article dropped about Skeleton Crew with a few pictures and everything else. So we will talk about that. I'll make that definitely happen today. And then, of course, we're going to get into our concluding portion. Well, maybe concluding. We'll have a discussion. We're going to recast the sequel trilogy. We had so much fun casting the original trilogy, recasting the prequel trilogy. Now we're going to recast the sequel trilogy with the caveat 80s, maybe into 90s actors. And we took bunch of them as if they were made like right after the original trilogy. Obviously, we didn't recast the big three. We already did that. But we did a recasting of Rey, Poe, Finn, Kylo, Snoke, and a minor character. So that should be
Let's put this out there before we begin. There is nothing wrong with the cut because I put in the chat in a Discord chat earlier that we were doing this week. And so the first comment I got was, well, you can't do much worse than what Lucasfilm already did. That's the very first comment I got. So we are not saying that there is anything wrong with the current cast of the sequel trilogy. No. We are just saying if George Lucas decided instead of going and doing the prequels, he just said, yeah, let's do another trilogy right after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Who would be in it?
Right.
That is the stance we are coming from. We are not being like, oh, what would George have done? Well, we kind of are, but like not in a vindictive way.
Absolutely not. We've had a lot of fun doing it. Just a fun, silly. This is what we do at Star Wars. We have fun with it. We discuss how things happen. We actually, I like to theorize what would happen if I find something wrong with it. I like, instead of like pointing it out and being making it problematic, I could go, well, how do I make this fit? Let's make this fit somehow. And I have fun finding ways to connect things that way. And this is just another one of those things. It's just kind of like, I love a recast. I love a good recast. It's just fun, speculation on
maybe things, one day we start recasting the shows.
I honestly, that's why I just said this is our concluding one, because this is the trilogy, but I think we still have them. We could do Solo, we could do Rogue One, we could do, we could do any of the shows. We could do a lot of things we could try to do. I think I think we actually should continue this because I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, this is fun.
Every couple of weeks we'll do a new one for the hell of it. Why not?
I will say, I do have one pick that you're going to be like, I fucking hate you for this.
I have one pick that I think is absolutely possibly brilliant, but also at the same time that you were like, what is this at the same time? I think. So we'll get into it though. But first, let's get into our news of the week. Not a whole lot to discuss this week, except for obviously we had the big article drop. I'll leave that for our main featured story to close us out. First things first, I usually gain most of my story knowledge from Star Wars News Net. I always push them because I like them over there. They do a great job of curating what's real, what's not. And this story is not on there, which lets me tell you how real I think it is. But I wanted to just break it down real quick. There was a announcement or a speculation by one of the numerous sources who have been corrected plenty of times in the past about the Rey movie has been postponed. And it was not filming in 2025. And but it wasn't canceled. But people started making a big deal about it. And to me, I'm kind of like, I didn't think this was going to be, I didn't think it was going to film in 2025 anyway, at this point. At one point, it had been discussed as being filmed this year potentially, and that it was going to go out in 2026. But now that we know that Mando and Grogu is coming out in that 2026 slot, and that's the first film to come out, we're not in any rush. I'd rather see things go well. I'd rather see things take their time. Daisy Ridley is still 100% on board. She actually was asked a question about it like 2 days ago, and she's
promoting a new film, right?
Correct, and she said that she loved she was on board right from the get-go from the concept. She hasn't read a script yet, and that's still I understand the concerns from some people. It's been like a long time, and she hasn't read a script still, and it's kind of like, okay, well, we got to get something going here. But that she loved the concept, and she was still all on board. But
okay, let me pose this question to you then.
Yeah,
and this is something that, going back to the game I mentioned earlier, it's been talked about since last year, and we still don't have a release date for it.
Right.
We've had trailers. We've had voice actors coming out talking about how great it is. We still don't have a release date for it. Would you rather they take the time and get it right and make it as good of not get it right, make it as good of a movie as they possibly can, and then put it out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or rush right back to the cinema just to get something out there in a time frame? Because we've seen how that goes before.
Yes, 100%. I will absolutely agree with you on that. I'd rather have them get it right, have it done right. And if there's issues with the script that they don't like, I get that. I will throw out there, because I want to I've always tried to be right down the middle with my Star Wars commentary, and I try to hit all sides of things from all different angles. And, I'm not going to say that I am not. There's definitely some things in Lucasfilm that are problematic in terms of things going down. Obviously, big thing is we don't get a lot of announcements, and that's a good thing. And then we get a lot of rumors. We get a lot of like people talking. Like, for example, Sean Levy, Lucasfilm has still not even like acknowledged anything about Sean Levy's Star Wars movie. Has not announced it, hasn't talked about it, hasn't anything. It's all been from Sean Levy and things of that nature. That comes and goes. So unfortunately, as these things go, we've had a lot of projects that have been thrown out there and then canceled. Thrown out there and then Taika Waititi's movie, probably not going to make it. Probably not going to happen now. Rian Johnson's trilogy, I don't think is going to happen. It's going to. There's a lot of those things have happened. So I do think there is a case to be made that Lucasfilm needs to figure out how to kind of be better at controlling the information and making things happen. It does seem like sometimes that there's a lot of people involved, a lot of notes get involved, a lot of things get involved. And you can't deny that you've had the Lord Miller situation. You have the Benioff and Weiss situation. You have the Lindelof situation, where he was originally going to be doing the Rey movie, and then he's gone. So a lot of times people come in, done work, and again gotten out. And that when there's smoke, there's fire. Is there something potentially off with how Lucasfilm is handling things? Are they trying to micromanage too much potentially? Are they running scared a little bit? All this is a possibility, and it's worth. I understand the speculation about it. I don't think anything has to necessarily be done. I wouldn't mind. I love Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's done a wonderful job, especially since the get-go. Would I mind seeing maybe a newer team in there to try to maybe do something different now? I wouldn't mind new sets of eyes. I think it could be a cool thing to see. I don't think it necessarily is going to happen anytime soon, but I feel like it could. I wouldn't be surprised if after Mando and Grogu, if Kathleen Kennedy decide to walk away on her own and maybe let in somebody new. And that'd be an interesting take, because I'm always up for a fresh look, a fresh view, a fresh look on things. It could be good for the franchise. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it's I think it's worthy to talk about. I don't want to just totally decry anybody who's like, well, Lucasfilm has done this all over again, because it has happened quite a few times.
But my thing with that is, if Lucasfilm haven't acknowledged these projects, right? Is that Lucasfilm's fault, or is that not fault, but like them allowing this information to get out to these sources, to these people like a Snyder or whoever breaks these news sources? Surely then that's on Lucasfilm to.
Sometimes it's Sean Levy himself, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's talking about it, they're not saying anything. That's, to me, is a little bit of like
exactly. So is it on Lucasfilm to say to these people,
shut up,
don't talk about it?
Right.
We get that you want to do it, and if anyone asks, you just say nada. Just say nothing.
Right.
It's not hard. Have them sign an NDA as soon as from the very first meeting. Say, hey, we need you to sign this NDA that we're having this discussion, because if anything gets out and it doesn't happen, it makes us look bad. Then it's not on the director.
right?
Or whoever they bring in, the writer or the actor or whoever they're speaking to. I think I think you poked on something really, really good there of like Lucasfilm managing the information. I think it does come down to that, but I think it's Lucasfilm managing how this information gets to the public. I think they need to be in better control of that. And I'm not calling for like any kind of censorship or anything, but like, I really want to see a Sean Levy Star Wars movie. I really want to see a Taika Waititi Star Wars movie. But if we don't get that, I'm not going to be like, fuck Kathleen Kennedy, fuck Lucasfilm. I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because that information was put out there and now people are excited to see these things. So I think you're right. It is a case of Lucasfilm needs to control that information better. But I also think they need to do a better job of keeping the genie in the bowl.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And I do think part of it is, like I said, I do think there is a state of they're trying to figure out. Obviously, they haven't. I mean, it's not I'm not being negative, but I will say that since like Rise of Skywalker, there's been this kind of sense of up and down. Like Rise of Skywalker, I enjoyed the movie a lot. I think there are some things wrong with it, but I think obviously it was not a smash success in terms of financially it was, but in terms of like the general Star Wars audience, it kind of it was mixed. All the series we've had have been like mixed. Some have loved Ahsoka, some didn't. Obviously, the Accolade, we can get on to that. We've already done that. No need to talk about that.
We got episodes on that. Go back and watch those.
Right. But I mean, obviously, these aren't successes. But I kind of feel like it's human nature for them to go, well, we got to figure out something that everybody likes again, that we want everybody to enjoy or get something kind of positive. And I feel like Lucasfilm doesn't know exactly what that is. I kind of feel like that's what stemmed The Mandalorian and Grogu, because that was not announced anything. We have the 3 announcements of the Rey movie, the James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi movie, which you still haven't heard anything about since then, and the Dave Filoni Mandoverse movie. These were all announced at the same time. And then all of a sudden, here we are. They got shifted. Now Mandalorian and Grogu is the first movie coming out. That feels like a Disney, possibly a Bob Iger stepping in, potentially like Mando and Grogu are the face of Disney Star Wars in terms of like that. They have been the big splash.
The new
Grogu.
EU.
Right. They are. Everybody loved Mando and Grogu, season 3 aside, with some mixed feelings. But overall, those characters are like, that's what have been a big hit. That's what's going to get people. And we need our Star Wars movie to be a big hit again. We need to get in the theaters to have a big hit. So that's whereas the Rey movie, again, a lot of people liked. A lot of people didn't like the sequel trilogy, so it's kind of one of those mixed bag kind of things. Mando Grogu is probably their best bet to come out big into Star Wars film, get rid of there, and get rid of like you got Jon Favreau directing, all that kind of stuff. But it does speak up to the terms of like, we need a hit. Let's lead with something that's probably, for all intents and purposes, our best bet at a surefire success, so to speak. But that leaves everything else to be kind of like, well, where does everything else fall in? We're figuring out where we're going on a lot of things. I think there's a lot of like shuffling of chairs around behind the scenes.
I think we're going to lose some things to this. It's clear that they're doing a reshuffle of the deck. So I think we are going to lose some things. We probably are going to lose Taika. We're probably going to lose Sean Levy. We're probably going to, we might even lose James Mangold.
I would actually, of the 3, I honestly think, even though it's not announced, I think the Sean Levy one's has the best chance of being made, and that's purely a cynical reason. He's a Disney filmmaker who just made $1 billion+ from Deadpool and Wolverine. So Lucasfilm is or Disney be like, yeah, let's get Sean Levy, that director, to direct the Star Wars thing. He just had a $1.5 billion movie, and so I think Kathleen Kennedy likes that too. These aren't necessarily good reasons to do it.
No.
Luckily, Sean is I like Sean as a director, and I think he could do a very fun Star Wars movie. So I think that's the case, that it works. Mangold works well with Lucasfilm. Like, they enjoyed working together, so that helps him a lot. I know that the backlash of sorts of Indy and the Dial of Destiny, I don't know if that's pushing anything back or not. Sometimes that does. Obviously, that's what happened with Colin Trevorrow, partially. So I mean, we don't know. I think there's a good chance of being. I think Taika Waititi I think that movie's done. I honestly think we're not going to hear that at this point, unfortunately.
And I'm okay with that. I really like when Taika goes off and does. Don't get me wrong. We have had long discussions about how much I love Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder. Love both those movies. Taika is best when he is at the helm.
Right.
When you just let Taika be Taika and go nuts. Give him a tiny little story that no one knows, or something that he himself has written. Like I'd never read Jojo Rabbit, but I watched the movie,
right,
and then I went and read it.
right. Absolutely, and I think that's actually what you nailed it without saying it. It's not necessarily being letting Taika be Taika. It's letting Taika be Taika doing Taika stuff. Having Taika in a genre or in a franchise film becomes a different story because then you have to fit Taika into a box a little bit. And while you loved Love and Thunder, and I enjoyed Love and Thunder, I love Ragnarok, my favorite MCU movie.
Oh, Ragnarok.
And Love and Thunder, I like more than most, but Love and Thunder was definitely not well received overall by people. And I think part of that is that it was too Taika in a way. And I understand that because sometimes you have to fit into that box a little bit. And that's a fine line. You got to let a director, storyteller do their thing, tell the story they want to tell. But there is that other side of things where we have to fit it into this set universe.
Have you seen Next Girl Wins yet?
I did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I cried 3 times in that movie.
Yeah,
3 times in a comedy movie by Taika Waititi.
Yeah. And it was silly as fuck sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. I think he could use some time away. I'm interested to see his Clara and the Sun. I read that book, and I'm interested to see that's what he's working on now.
What's that about?
It is a futuristic tale about basically an AI doll. But it's not like a horror story, not like the Chucky or anything like that. It's like this. It's actually mostly from their point of view and them learning to become human kind of thing. And it's a very interesting. It's a weird story. I would say his
take on AI is going to be really interesting.
Exactly. I think it's going to be an interesting way. It's a lot of like that naive innocence to it, which he does very well. He kind of has that kind of like naive. That has this kind of winking knowledge about naive innocence in a way. It should be very interesting for sure. Yeah. So, well, that was a long story about this story, but the basic idea is, sure, it's not filming this year. We kind of the Ray movie is not filming this year. We already kind of knew that. It's not canceled yet, so I don't think it will be canceled. I still maintain, and this is no sources, no anything else, just a gut feeling. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a switch in director here. I just have something like, I don't know. It's just a gut thing tells me that, and I'm not yelling for it. I'm not shouting for it. It is what it is. I've never seen any of her work, so I have no real opinion on her either way. But I kind of have the feeling Disney might push for a little bit more tenured director to bring Ray back into the theaters. That's what I think. I could be wrong.
Do you think they swap her out for Patty Jenkins?
No, because I have the feeling. This is
don't speak on rumors. Don't speak on what does Paul Denuzzo.
My opinion is based on some rumors in that I've heard that Patty can be difficult to work with a little bit as far as things go, and I kind of feel like that might be part of the reason why her Rogue Squadron movie fell out. I think she's a strong filmmaker. I don't think she's a strong writer. I think you watch Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was awesome. Wonder Woman 84, which she was more in charge of writing wise, was a little bit messy and not as good, I felt. I kind of feel like if you
bring her in just to direct, no writing, just
if she'll do that, that's part of the thing. I think she wants to do more of it, and I think that's where some of the might have happened. Might have been a case where she wanted to be a little bit too much in control, like writing wise and everything else. As a pure director, I'd be okay with giving her a shot, a strong female lead, and having her do it. I think it could be great. It could be absolutely
with the story, with what's been written and what we've been presented with as what's going to be the story. I do feel like it has to be a female director.
I'm all for that. I would love to see something like that. You know one name I would love to see in Star Wars? I don't think she'd ever do a Star Wars film, but Catherine Bigelow would be an awesome Star Wars.
Oh, hell yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think she might be a little bit, this again, pure speculation from my part. It might be too not serious enough for her in a way. Like she has such like darker toned movies. What
about Greta Gerwig?
Greta Gerwig would be phenomenal. I would love to see Greta Gerwig in the Star Wars universe. I would give her a shot. Like, here, take this. What do you want to do with it? Get back to me. Because you could tell that story too. I think Lucasfilm does need to surrender a little bit. I think they were sometimes a little bit too precious on what is Star Wars. I kind of
they
feel
got
that in my
their
arm.
boxes that need to be ticked.
And I understand being precious about it. It's a very strong legacy, especially Dave had with George. He's very protective of George's legacy, and I completely understand that. I feel like, but George isn't around anymore, and you have to evolve a little bit. And you can keep the tenets of George's Star Wars while letting storytellers have more of their own influence. Although maybe, again, I don't work at Lucasfilm. This is just all kind of speculation. And we're going to talk about that specifically a little bit later on in the article. But let's move on, unless you have anything else further to say on that.
No. I just think that was a good little conversation we just had there.
Absolutely. Okay, next up, we have a couple of, I just want 3 little pieces I'm going to say all at once. They're all kind of just discussions of comic books and books that are coming out. First of all, The Trials of the Jedi, the High Republic's final novel, set for release on June 17th, 2025. The epic conclusion to the Star Wars The High Republic, the sequel to Temptation of the Force. The Star Wars High Republic story comes to a conclusion as the Jedi face off against the Nihil and Martian Row. Are you caught up, by the way? Are you all?
I haven't read Tears of the Nameless yet. I'm waiting for the audio.
Dropped, right? Yeah.
I'm waiting for the audiobook to come out.
I am still, like, I did my reread, so I haven't done anything in phase 3 yet. I'm still getting towards the end of phase 2. I'm in the comic book section now. Finished. Oh man, I'm dropping the name. The one with the fair on Valo.
Attack on Valor.
Yeah, that the big book about that. It was like Into the Dark, or was it
Not Into
the Dark? It's I just freaking read it.
It's not The Rising Storm.
No. Hold on 1 second. Let me get it up.
But yeah, I'm not caught all the way up. I saw Alex Damon and Star Wars Explained. They did their monthly book club on it the other day, so I might go watch that and kind of check it out before I listen to the audiobook. But have you got the one there?
Rising Storm.
Dude,
which I loved. My favorite, again, that's how this became my Elzar and Ty York are my favorite characters in the High Republic right now. So I'm excited to see where they go. I'm reading the comics. So I'm reading everything. So I'm just reading the comics in between.
So you get Geode now.
Yeah, I love Geode. I've always loved Geode. To be honest with you. But got some other good stuff.
It shows you that book really shows you. Mark Young wrote, don't fuck around.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to finishing it. I guess my question I have, and it's one I've asked before, is like, it's the High Republic story comes to a conclusion. We don't have to end the High Republic era. We could always throw things in there, but I guess this is like the trilogy of that. Like, if you have a story set in
the end of this
initiative. War, this is the end of that initiative. So I'm hoping we get more stories in there. And I think we will eventually. Because
we are, right? We're getting the Vanastra book with.
True. That's true. That's the acolyte part of things, but that is technically part of the High Republic. So that makes sense. And I hope that's how we do it. I think it's a great way we can still keep this thing open, because we had the big announcement such a long time ago now, where we had the big different eras of Star Wars starting out there. We have some eras we haven't even touched yet, but I do want to see us let's explore these areas and let's start establishing them. I'm wondering if there's going to be a bigger initiative after the High Republic, like we'll take a year off and build a new initiative to do a bigger era initiative, and maybe even an earlier era or something to that effect, trying to establish that era a little more. Maybe that's what they're doing with James Mangold movie. Maybe they're trying to build something around that to have a big overall initiative. It should be fun either way, but 2025.
Give me my Geode rock opera, god damn it.
All right, next up in this little 3P here, Padawan's Pride is an audio book that just dropped out of nowhere.
Surprise drop, huh?
I love it. I love when we get a surprise drop. I'm not going to listen to it yet because I'm not going to get there yet, but I am very interested about this. It's available on Audible as far as I know.
I haven't got Audible, so I need to see if it's on the Spotify.
All right. When there's the drop about it, when a Republic spy goes missing on the moons of Varl, the Jedi Council asks Obi-Wan and Anakin to infiltrate an underground pod racing circuit run by a crime boss believed to be holding the spy prisoner. With Anakin posing as a hotshot racer and Obi-Wan as his attendant, tensions between the two threaten to run even higher than usual. When Obi-Wan is forced to leave Varl, Anakin is on his own as he faces a series of increasingly treacherous races that will determine his fate and that of the spy. Master and apprentice must use all their Jedi skills in this action-packed tale of cutthroat competition, deadly deception, and ultimately what it means to be a Padawan. 3 years, I guess, after Phantom Menace, which we don't have a lot of storytelling in this time frame. Got the Brotherhood book. We have the Obi-Wan and Anakin comic book series, but this is the earliest, I believe.
What was that old book, that old Legends book? It was like, it had like a green and black cover. It had like Jake Lloyd on the front of it.
I think it was part of the one I'm thinking of. I don't know if it's the same one, only because I do a lot of my books digitally, so I don't always remember the covers very well. It was part of that. They had a series of books that took place, like Jedi Apprentice books that took place in between with Anakin and Obi-Wan as young Obi-Wan. Actually, Anakin even was racing in it. He actually used to sneak down to the lower levels of Coruscant from the Jedi Temple and race. Race super or whatever. So it's something to that effect as well. So that actually reminded me of that when I heard this drop. But either way, audiobooks have never been much of my thing. Not gonna lie. So by the time I get here in the timeline, since I'm doing my reread chronological read/reread, maybe they'll have the script format out. They drop the scripts later on. Sometimes I've seen that happen a few times. That actually happened with Tempest Runner, things of that nature. So I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I'm very.
I like Planet. Sorry,
Rogue
I'm so sorry. Rogue Planet.
That's the one I'm thinking of as well. Was that the book that he did that in? Was he a racer in that one? I can't remember. It's been a long time.
I don't know. It was the one where on the cover of it, Obi-Wan's got a green lightsaber.
Yes. No, I remember the book very well because I remember the ending of the book very well.
Anyway, sorry, continue. Keep going. Your thought. I went on tunnel vision down a rabbit hole there because I was
no, it's okay. I understand because actually I remember. I'm wondering if it's the same one because that might have been the one that I was talking about as well. I remember there was the Obi-Wan and Anakin in between, like the young readers thing, which I did read. But if I remember correctly, the beginning of that one, he might have been doing some. Yeah, no, that is. I looked it up. It is this book. Anakin does start out. He's 12 years old in this one, and he's participating in illegal races in garbage tunnels under Coruscant. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. This is what it reminded me of as well. It's a good connection there. I just was thinking about the other series that I love the other series they have. There's a couple of them that there's like a young Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon did.
The Jedi Apprentice books,
right? The Jedi Apprentice
with
books.
Xanatos.
Xanatos, I enjoyed the hell out of those. To be honest with you,
those are like some of my favorites. Those books.
But they had the sequel one set as well, which was Obi-Wan and Anakin. Basically, the same idea with them doing it a year later on as well. I like a lot of those books. They also had the sequel. They had like the post episode 3 one, The Last Jedi. One, not I always have the Ryan Johnson movie here, and they use that a lot. Last Jedi gets used a lot, but bringing it back, I do think I like a surprise audio drop. I'm glad there's more in this time frame. I think this is there's some time frames that have been kind of, I don't want to say oversaturated because you can tell me the stuff between 2 and 3. Yeah, we have a ton of stories in, but I still love getting more stories from there. And same with like between 3 and 4. But I'm very happy to get stuff that's in an underrepresented era as well. So this is one that definitely it was making me happy for sure. Hopefully by the time I get to it, if it hasn't come out with a script by the time I get to it in the timeline of my reading, then I'll listen to it. If it has, then I'll probably just read the script.
Yeah.
This is how it goes. But, all right, last bit of this part of news where we dive into our main topic of news. Bad Batch coming back in a new miniseries from Dark Horse Comics. Clone Force 99 has a new mission. Star Wars Newsnet can exclusively reveal that next year, the Bad Batch returns to the fray with their own comic series from Dark Horse under the Hyperspace Stories banner set during the Clone Wars. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, The Bad Batch, Ghost Agents, God, that's a title and a half, will be a 5-issue miniseries written by Michael Morhaime, who wrote the Hyperspace Stories, wrote Burning Fields, and illustrated by Reese Hannigan, and with Elizabeth D'Amico and Michael Attea, and lettering by Comicraft. The clones of Bad Batch have been through some intense missions throughout the Clone Wars, and it said they have a 100% success rate. But this time, they may have met their match. In Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, the Bad Batch Ghost Agents, they are on a mission to hunt down the mysterious separatist ghost agent who executed a daring heist on Coruscant. The thief's trail leads Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair, and Tech to the seediest corners of the galaxy. a place where kingpins and thugs threaten the clones' mission and their lives. So yes, it's the return of Tech. We have Tech.
He lives. He lives.
Tech lives. Interestingly enough, we don't have, obviously this is pre-Echo, so no Echo. This is obviously way pre-Omega, obviously, absolutely. I knew it was going to be pre-Omega, the pre-Echo. I was like, oh, okay, which makes sense. It does make sense as well. I like the fact we're getting this is the earliest chronologically we're going to see the Bad Batch in action. So this is them at their peak in terms of their performance as a team, including Crosshair and everything else. And we get to see actually many missions of them during the Clone Wars. We had the one arc where they got introduced. We got the one arc at the beginning of the Bad Batch, which obviously wasn't really a mission. They kind of like, it was the end of Order 66, etc. So we get to see them actually in action. We heard all about it. We saw a little bit. This is them at their peak, doing what they do best, busting up clankers and taking names and record blowing up shit, I'm sure. And I am excited about this because I have fallen in love with the Bad Batch in such a way. When they were first introduced, I was, okay, they're cool, they're fine. But now, since the series, I love these characters and can't wait to see more. So give me a at peak Bad Batch story.
And you say they're going into the underworld in this story, right?
Yes.
Is this where they meet Boba?
Could be. That would be an interesting side of things for sure. I don't know where it depends on where it is in the timeline. He might be in prison at this point, but he's definitely could be around. I love more Clone Wars stories. Give me more. I'm okay with that. As far as I'm concerned, you can't have enough. A lot of people start complaining there's too much going on. I don't care. It's a fictional thing. Get more
story I really want to see from the Bad Batch is the formation of the Bad Batch.
That'd be nice to see. That would be kind of cool to see. Like their
first mission, yeah.
Or just figuring each other out kind of thing. I would love to see that as well. Maybe this could be close to it, at least closer to it. I'm hoping this is the first in a couple. I hope you'll get a couple. Maybe they'll get a sequel. If it's successful enough, we'll get a sequel one for sure. But I'm on board. I'm happy they're doing it. Excited about it. So, all right, then that will do that. Let's get into our big drop. This is where we're Force centered. We recorded our episode last week, and then right afterward, they dropped this. We have Entertainment Weekly had a big article featuring Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew will feature space pirates in a big way. New photos confirmed. Lot of cool pictures, a lot of cool things. Well, two cool pictures. A great picture of Jude Law's character with the kids behind him. And man, does he look good with that like Lando / Han Solo-ish kind of like big, long, swing pirate jacket.
He's got like a legit pirate pistol.
I love it. I love it so much.
It doesn't look like a blaster. It looks like a pirate's pistol.
And it makes absolutely no sense in this universe, and that's what makes it fun, to be honest with you.
I mean, you look at some of the guns in Andor, it just looked like they just strapped like something onto an AK-47. Yeah. That looked weird enough. So I was looking at it like, did they just modify an AK, just put a box on an AK and go out there? This one, they've taken literally a fucking pirate's pistol, which also adds to the character of Judd or whatever his name is going to be. Yeah. Many of his names. Because you'd think it kind of makes me think, is he like a Jack Sparrow kind of a character?
I kind of feel he might be along those lines, like a little more serious. I don't think he'll be as wacky, but he'll have a little bit of that free flowing attitude, a little bit of that kind of like
you never knew when Jack was telling you the truth.
Right. And I feel like that part of things I think is right in there. I am excited about, I kind of feel like looking at this, we're going to get a force wielding pirate king. That's what this feels like.
Oh my God.
Like he is going to be a guy who's in charge of a lot of stuff, but he can wield the force. So he's like not maybe a former Jedi, or maybe a Jedi who would never, a never Jedi, just a kind of guy who's just used the force for all his life.
Oh, so you're leaning into Judd being a force wielder now?
100%. I know you're not. Some people are. I know like they had the trailer and it made it look like he was.
Just swindler.
He's a swindler, but I would love the idea of him being a swindler who is actually a Force user. So we kind of got the swindler thing in Obi-Wan with Kumail Nanjiani there, where he did that character, which I love that character, by the way.
I hope he shows up somehow.
I would love to see that. But I think that which would be great to see him show up. Like, we don't know what happened to him after the Clone Wars. It'd be great to see, or after Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries there. But I like the idea of having someone who does use the Force, is not a Sith, is not a dark side user, but is also definitively not a Jedi. He's kind of more just like a selfish guy who just kind of like, God does good things. He does selfish things. I like that idea. And I think that could be cool. We don't get that at all in any of the Star Wars universe, really, overall. So I love that aspect, and I hope it's the case myself. But we did get the other picture, which included a shot of a bunch of the pirates, including Urkel.
That was weird. I was like, wait, hold on. Why is the guy from Family Matters in Skeleton Crew?
Leo White, of course. I kind of feel like maybe not the same level, but it's kind of like an Ahmed Best kind of like reclamation.
I think so.
I mean, honestly, he never got like the hate being Urkel, but he definitely got typecast as Urkel. He's done some stuff since then, of course. But having him as a pirate makes me smile. And I think it's great for him and great because he's a great performer, and having him have his thing is good. And speaking of those blasters you were talking about earlier, the Wolfman has a bunch of those little pirate type blasters on him. And I love that he's front and center, because I've always been about Pablo Hidalgo saying, keep Star Wars weird. Keep Star Wars weird. Let Star Wars be weird. And this is Star Wars being weird. Now I do want to read a couple of quotes we had from there, and we can extrapolate from there. Christopher Ford states, those are pirates, space pirates. Pirates are talked about so much in Star Wars. People would call Han Solo a pirate, and he'd be like, how dare you? And we've been seeing some awesome pirates in the animated shows. Thank you, Christopher. We have seen some awesome pirates in the animated shows. So this was somewhere where both executive producers Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were really excited to do more pirate stuff.
His name.
Say his name.
Say his name.
Say his name. Is this the time? Hondo Ohnaka. Hondo Watch.
Has to be.
It does. They're basically teasing us. They're basically saying,
which, by the way, I gotta point this out. You got in the last episode of Force Center. You got the sole credit for Hondo Watch.
Stop doing that.
And I was like, wait a second. Hold on. But yes, I do think there is a strong possibility that our watch could end.
Our watch could end, and I'm very excited for it. It does feel like that. The fact that he mentioned the animated pirate shows and Dave Filoni in the same sentence, they're talking about them. They're talking about awesome pirates. That's what they're talking about, is Hondo. So hopefully he makes an appearance or something.
Who else is the awesome pirate?
I don't know. I mean, he's definitely the best.
Hondo's awesome. Like, there's no, like, it's Hondo, then there's everyone else.
Yep, absolutely. 100% that way. So this is good news for us. And we're going to talk about something else, another non-Star Wars news story, in just a few minutes, just to touch base on that again. But yeah. All right, let's talk more about another quote we had. This is John Watts, co-creator with Ford and director of multiple episodes, explaining how much he enjoyed the freedom of working for Lucasfilm under Dave Filoni. What's great about working at Lucasfilm is that they'll let you know if you've gone outside of the boundaries. Dave Filoni is our goalkeeper. He actually is a great hockey player, but he's also a figurative goalkeeper. He'll come up with some of the ideas that we like, and then he'll be like, actually, maybe it's this, or, oh, we already did something like that somewhere else. And you always end up with a bunch of other episodes of Star Wars to go watch and things to go read, and it's good. You feel like you can safely explore these things creatively without making some huge canonical mistake. And he gets both sides of that because he did entering under George Lucas. So he gets that thing of, I want to make a whole new kind of Jedi. And then someone being like, okay, hold on. A lot of people have thought about this. Let's do this the right way. And it's so helpful. So it's a lot to unpack in that statement. The good part is John seems genuinely happy about his relationship with Lucasfilm. It does seem like doesn't sound like a a quote that, oh yeah, I loved him. I love it. It's sometimes people say that you're talking about producing the project, like, oh, I had a great time, but this sounded genuine, like he had a good time working with Dave, and that I like to hear. At the same time, I do wonder. This goes back to my notes. Is sometimes I wonder if they take things a little too preciously at times. Maybe that like let them do their own thing. I mean, there are things. Where is the line of what is Star Wars, and what is the line of we've done this before? Let's make sure we don't do this again, or shifting things out to fit in the box. Not, I mean, John is saying it was a good thing and he loved it. So good. I'm excited to see what that means. I like the Dave Filoni is a very imaginative individual, and I know he knows Star Wars very well. Overall, I'm taking this as a positive. John Watts appears to have had great excitement about working there, and yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that statement?
John Watts is more of a director that could fit in that box. You look at the Spider-Man movies; they are very much like teen, coming of age, Amblin-esque kind of movies about a young boy who's discovering his potential and his powers and his responsibilities in the world, finding his place in the world. That's exactly what we're kind of looking at here with Skeleton Crew. So I think if there is one person who I think you could allow to have creative liberties that would also fit well in the box, I think it's John Watts. You have people like a Tony Gilroy who have this level of swing to be like, shut up, let me do me.
Right.
You will love what you get. Put whatever you spin you need to put on it. Just shut up, let me do my thing. Yeah, Tony Gilroy has earned that right. John Watts, I think, is the exact opposite of someone that fits well within that box. Sean Levy's another example. Look at the Adam Project. He fits well in that box.
I think he's more of a collaborative kind of guy with a franchise. And I'm not saying that Tony is not collaborative, but he's definitely his own. He has his singular vision, and he has mentioned fitting in the box, so to speak. He has fit in, like, he's like, oh, well, Dave Filoni told us this, but he's more of the sense of, I have this story, you sprinkle on the frosting of what you need, like the stuff that's in Stellan's shop, for example, the characters like that. What characters are around at this point? Oh, we have a character like Saw Gerrera that fits what you're looking for. Let's do that kind of thing. Well, I mean, I happen to be with Rogue One, but that's the same type of thing that makes sense with what they're doing. And I think that's the good way to do it. I think Dave Filoni working on that is great. For example, this pirate show, there's Skeleton Crew talks about the animated shows of pirates. It's probably Dave Filoni going, hey, it actually sounds to me, and this is me, this is not speculating responsibly. This is me speculating completely wishfully. It almost feels like
gets his own show.
No, no, it feels like this is what happened. Perhaps what happened. John Watts says, "What we have this. Here's the story where these characters meet this pirate in the Star Wars universe. Blah 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 blah." And Dave Filoni was like, "Well, we have a pirate character in the Star Wars universe that would fit this very well." Oh, and this is where Hondo comes in. You know what I mean? Like, so John Watts may not have known about it, wrote a character that makes sense, and Dave's like, "Well, let's put Hondo in that."
I like where he had that. And he also says that he wanted to create a new kind of Jedi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I was once friends with a Jedi.
Exactly. That's like I could totally see Hondo coming up and going, I've worked with Jedi. He has no Jedi. Or something.
Or is Hondo the new kind of Jedi?
Hey, maybe.
If we're looking at what a Jedi is, someone who is in service of others, does good in the galaxy. Hondo at this time, he's rescuing kids.
Right.
He's helping the resistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a Jedi.
Absolutely. I could see that kind of stuff happen at this point too. Absolutely. And especially with his Kitsune, his ship and everything. He has that soft spot for the young Jedi. I wouldn't be surprised. The young characters, this actually makes a lot of sense for me to have Hondo in here. So I'm trying not to get too hyped because I don't want to get hot.
No, it's gonna happen, dude. It's gonna happen.
I don't want to get too hyped because I don't want to get disappointed. But it does feel like this is the best time to have it happen.
We get disappointed every week when we play the same sound clip on Hondo Watch. If there is one thing we are used to, it is disappointment with no Hondo. If he doesn't show up this time, it's just gonna be same shit, different toilet.
I know. I'm trying, but that is like a little bit of a bit in terms of like when for example, when it happened in the Acolyte, I knew he wasn't showing up in the Acolyte, and I was okay with that. You know, and I was like, although you never know. Every time he didn't appear, I'm like, okay, all right. This time, I'm trying to hold because I don't want to expect it to definitely happen. That's all. God, it's hard not to get excited about that.
Vane stops stepping out of line, and then Hondo comes up, and he's like, "Hey, no, I'm the captain now."
I'm the captain. Oh God, it's so good. So the other bit of news that kind of branches off this wasn't on Star Wars News Net. This was on Production Weekly or something to that effect. There was made mention. There's only in I forget the name of the magazine, but it basically talks about things that are in production. And it's live action, so it's not an animated thing. There was a mention of a Star Wars film, a Star Wars project in development, just called Star Wars Pirates. And there's a lot of wild speculation, like, some people are making this big jump that Jod was getting his own spin-off show already. I'm kind of like, well, see, I don't know if that's the case. Maybe they're preparing for it. Maybe they like working with Jude so much, like, yeah, let's keep this going. Maybe that's the case. I don't know how reliable. I've heard some less than reliable things about this magazine. I've also heard this could be anything else. It could be a lot of different things. So I don't want to speculate too wildly and get like this is definitely happening. But if it did happen, would you be into it? And what would you want to say?
Did you seriously just ask me that question? Are you serious?
I'm setting you up. It's called a setup.
Of course I want to watch a fucking Star Wars show with pirates. It's like, yeah, yes. That's the kind of like swashbuckling, like you can have the adventurous and the swashbuckling and the whimsy of like Hook,
right?
For example. I mean, we've talked about maybe in the lead up to Skeleton Crew watching some Amblin style shows, but give me like a full on like space pirate show, and I'm not talking like real life pirates like you know, like
right? No, of course
no, we're talking silly, stupid
Jack Sparrow,
like the car, like the crew. Imagine the crew of the Black Pearl,
right?
In Star Wars. Imagine like a Captain Barbosa
kind of
figure.
Right, exactly.
Or like a Davy Jones.
Absolutely. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and that set in Star Wars would be fun. It'd be fun. Let Hondo be in it.
Bring in Bill Nye to do a Davy Jones style character in a Star Wars pirate show. Bring in Johnny Depp to do it.
Yeah, I'd be all on board for a lot of that. Whether or not it's a Jod spinoff is another story. I don't know if it would be, but it would make sense. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, or I wouldn't be unhappy if it worked. If this show works the way I think it's going to work, and I'm loving everything I'm seeing about it so far. All these pictures, and I love the trailer. Seeing Jod get more time in Star Wars should be a lot of fun. So, whether it happens or not, who knows? It actually feels like it's more of an animated show, to be honest with you, but. That could be. Maybe that's the next lot. Maybe that's the next show. Who knows?
What if you have a bunch of pirates that come across an old Jedi outpost, or an old Jedi temple?
That could be very cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, pirates running around with lightsabers. So we just hear.
Oh man, I'm all for it, man. I think this fits what we talked about last week. We need, and what Donald Glover said too. We need a little bit more of that fun back in Star Wars. The swaggering adventure type fun. We haven't had that for a little bit. And again, I that's nothing against the projects we've had. I like the stoic characters. I like all that kind of stuff. But let's balance it out with a little bit of swaggering, just no nonsense fun. Let's have a blast.
Yeah, let's do it.
So anyway, yeah, it's big news. I'm excited about this. I like those pictures. I'm glad the Skeleton Crew is ramping up. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another trailer in the near future. I would bet like within the next month we probably get another trailer. I'm excited for that as well, and I'm excited for the show to begin December. I can't wait. I'm excited. So, all right, let's get into our main topic of the day. This is a little. We've done this quite a few times now. We did the original trilogy recast. We did the prequel trilogy recast. And this week, we are doing the sequel trilogy recast set in the 80s, early 90s, or whatever you want to say. Basically, George Lucas, after Return of the Jedi was finished, took a much smaller break, and decided to tell the story of 7, 8, and 9 with the same characters that we know and mostly love from the sequel trilogy that we got from Disney. So we're going to recast with those actors of that time. We also have our own little rules. I could not use Ed Harris. Matty could not use Tom Cruise or Cillian Murphy. So we're keeping him up, and that's fine. I could have used Ed Harris today. Ed Harris would make a hell of a Snoke.
I definitely could not have used Cillian, but I definitely had one for Tom Cruise, and then I was like, shit, I can't use Tom Cruise.
Absolutely. But let's get into it. We have 6 characters we're actually going to do this week: Rey, Poe, Finn, Kylo, Snoke, and then a minor character of our choice, our minor wild card. Let's start off with you, my friend. Where do you want to go first?
Let's go with our main character. Let's start with Rey.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to take you back to the 80s to a little movie called True Lies.
Okay.
With the character of Rey, she knows how to take care of herself, but she doesn't know her potential. We want someone that we can be surprised at. Whoa, she really just did that. Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies.
I mean, True Lies is older.
It's like the little bit older, yeah, but like as the motherly kind of figure. But then by the end, complete badass.
Well, I'll throw it out there. Jamie Lee Curtis in the 80s had that much more of a younger side too. So if they made it in the late 80s, this is just post Halloween, just post prom night, and things of that nature, just post her legit turn when she was in Trading Places. Young, fiery. We know she's a great actress. I think she could pull it off very well. An action set piece for her. I like where your mind is at. As not someone I went across, and I'm actually disappointed that I didn't come across that one in my mind.
I only could do that because I watched True Lies the other night, and I was like, because I have a yearly watch of True Lies because I feel like that's like updating my man membership card.
Right.
Update my bro membership card. You have to watch True Lies at least once a year.
Fair. I like that.
Yeah, my pick for Rey is Jamie Lee Curtis.
I think that's a good choice. I think it's a very solid choice. She definitely has the skills, the acting skills, and she also has a lot of that kind of a little bit of that vulnerability, but she doesn't show the vulnerability very much, only when she needs to. I like that. I like that. It's a solid choice. I had another choice. I went a slightly different way. Another strong female actress from that time who has done definitively she's been vulnerable. She's also been a little bit of an action hero at times, so she definitely kick ass if need be. My choice is G.I. Jane herself, Demi Moore.
Wow. Okay.
Young Demi Moore from the 80s, where she was doing like St. Elmo's Fire, One Crazy Summer. You wouldn't picture her in a role, but she has that kind of vulnerability, that kind of unique way of looking at the world, where she was always like kind of on her own. She always kind of like made it strength of being on her own. But then when you got to push her in something like a G.I. Jane, she could kick the shit out of these people. So she could do the action set pieces. I think she's a strong female character. I think Demi Moore could have been a phenomenal choice to be Rey.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, so there we go. We got Rey, we got Demi Moore, and we got Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay. Where do you want to go next, my friend? I'm going to let you lead this train.
I'm going to have to give you 2 in one go.
Okay. All right. 2 in one go. You got to choose some.
PLD, I'm doing it.
Oh, man.
I'm doing it.
What are you doing? You're scaring me.
We're playing the roles of Finn and Poe. Danny Glover and Crazy Mel.
Oh my God. We're lethal weaponing the sequel trilogy. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
I mean, I will say they are a little too old for this shit, maybe, but
exactly.
That would be so fun. So fun, so silly. I'm all for it. You know what? I don't know anything else has to be said for it.
That's not even my believe it or not. That's not even my craziest one.
Matty, this is why I love doing this with you. You throw these curveballs in here.
Oh, I got one coming up. It's a real fucking curveball. Go on, you can hit me back to back.
Okay, all right. Let me go back to back then. My Finn and Poe are not a dynamic duo like that, so I can't give you that. But I did have some I think could be interesting choices. Finn was a tough one because Finn, you want to have someone who is kind of loud and proud, but like still kind of vulnerable at times, a little bit, maybe a little bit crazy, potentially as it goes forth on things. I went with, I'm not sure this is a winner or not, but I'm going to go with it anyway. I'm going to admit to it. That's Wesley Snipes. A young Wesley Snipes is Finn.
Okay. He was my first pick.
Was he?
Let me tell you why. Another movie I watched the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Demolition Man.
Love that. Love Demolition Man. He's a bad version of Finn, to be honest, like a wild, crazy Finn. Absolutely. I
was thinking of going. Oh wow, okay.
And it's not an adventure movie at all. That's a sci-fi movie, but like his kind of like that made me think of Finn completely because he had this whole faking it till you make it thing. If you watch Major League, he's a guy who was not initially invited to the team, but he kind of just showed up, showed everybody what he could do, and was trying to. It reminded me a lot of like him and Han Solo's conversation. Where you're like, they always find out. But kind of thing. But it made sense and it had a lot of fun to it. So I kind of feel like Wesley could be young Wesley Snipes, toned down just a smidge from the crazy, would make a fun Finn.
I picked Mel Gibson. So
well, let's think about Poe then. For me, Poe, I just say wild card and a half. Not exactly.
Did you go Sly?
No. God no. I wanted to find someone who might not have been the most well known, but could deliver the kind of hot-headed performance that Poe could deliver. And I wanted to kind of have some great diversity in this cast as well. So I want to throw it out there. I'm going to give you Lou Diamond Phillips.
Ooh,
Lou Diamond Phillips. A little Young Guns action, a little big hit action. Cocky as hell. Wild hot shot. Could pull off a pilot role easily. I think he would be a lot of fun as Poe.
Yeah, I like that.
You like that one?
I like that a lot.
That's the one I was actually most proud of.
Yep.
Sweet.
I like it a lot. All
right.
What do you say?
Go ahead. Next one,
what do you say? You pick the next one. We got.
Me pick the next one. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk Kylo then. This I feel like I want to get this one a little bit out of the way because I feel like I have a basic answer. It's a little bit of a basic answer, but I still can't help it. I still want to see it because I love the guy so much, and he's young enough now to do it. Not the greatest actor, but a wonderful human being, and could definitely do the action bits as we know, and is definitely charismatic. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, fuck! Why didn't I think of that?
A little young Keanu Reeves as Kylo Ren.
Oh yes, because you need that someone who can be just like emotionless.
Yes,
but then when he has those moments where he just flips out, you're like, oh, this guy's kind of crazy.
I am a Jedi Knight.
I could hear him. I could hear Keanu doing the "I know what I need to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it" line.
Absolutely, I think him and Harrison Ford could actually play out very well together.
Bro, have they ever done anything together?
Yeah, I think they did. I'm thinking. I can't remember the name of the film off the top of my head. But there was something that they did together.
Adam Witt, Paul Preston. If any of you are watching this episode, let me know.
Yeah, I'm. There's something in my head. I'm thinking I gotta have something. I can't remember what it is.
Ever been in anything together?
Maybe I'm wrong. But they should be.
Yeah. It should be. And
It
if they have it before, do it now.
Absolutely.
My Kylo.
Dear Kylo.
I went with someone who can pull off the goth, emo aesthetic, kind of moody, kind of broody, can kick ass, but also is part of a family dynasty. His first movie came out in 1986, so he was young enough to do this. Brandon Lee.
Oh my God. Oh my God. As a Crow fan, as a Crow fanatic, as a Crow obsessive, I am so disappointed in myself. I did not put Brandon Lee.
Right. Right.
And I love Keanu, but my argument has always been for the longest time that if with Brandon Lee's tragic passing, we lost someone who could have been the premier action star of the 90s, because not only was he obviously able to kick ass in all sorts of ways, he's the son of Bruce Lee, and his action sequences were phenomenal, but he also had shown such potential performing wise, acting wise, that oh my God, him in that role, that you win. I love it. I love it.
Imagine like George, who is a fan of Eastern cinema, having Bruce Lee's son right there. And you just be like,
holy shitballs. Holy shitballs. I'm all in on that one. Let's do it. Good choice, my friend. Good choice. All right.
Next.
All right, let's deal with Supreme Leader Snoke. I want you to go first on this one because this is my wild swing.
George likes to cast English actors as his villains.
Absolutely.
We need someone with not the gravitas, but with the presence of a supreme leader. The kind of who can deliver that same aura of power and not like fear through respect through fear.
Right.
I am picking Sir Patrick Stewart.
Ooh. Oh, I mean, getting Patrick Stewart in Star Wars is already a big victory. You can't go wrong there. That is a
sorry to all my friends who are Star Trek fans, but
that's a great cross. Hey, we've had some good crossover, obviously. A little bit of crossover anyway. George Takei was in both Star Trek and Star Wars for sure. No, that's a great choice. Patrick Stewart led a lot of gravitas to Snoke and would have been very well received, I think. Definitely more of a straightforward, safer choice than mine, I will say. I'm going to throw this out here. And I looked at it like maybe someone who could do motion cap, even if he's never done motion cap, I feel like he could do motion cap. Someone who can have a solid voice, not necessarily known for his villains, but has done a few villainous pieces where he showed some darkness. Come to the stage, Robin Williams.
Holy shit.
Come to the soundstage, Mr. Robin Williams.
Who did I cast Robin Williams as? It's Jar Jar, wasn't it?
I believe he did a Jar Jar. I think you did Jar Jar. Think of Robin Williams doing the mocap, doing a villainous voice.
He could do both.
Energy he could have. The wild chaoticness of that energy in there. I think it's a wild swing.
Yeah. I think it would work.
I think
it would work.
So, I mean, he'd have to hide his genie voice, obviously, not doing the genie or anything like that, but give him a darkness tinge to it. I think he could pull this off supremely well. It's no pun intended.
Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I think he'd do it.
A darker version? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, you take in his performances in Insomnia or 1 Hour Photo kind of thing, like that kind of darkness within, and then give it the end, and then with the melancholy a bit of Good Will Hunting, and then just give him the crazy energy that he has.
And not to like say this is like a demeaning kind of thing, but he had that darkness in him.
100%.
To
Absolutely.
be, it wouldn't have been something out of the ordinary for him to pull from. He just very rarely chose to do it.
Right. Absolutely. So give you that as a choice. So that was my big swing, my friend. That was my big swing. So
you want my big swing?
Yeah, we got one left. But your minor character? Minor character. Who'd you choose? First, what character you going with?
My guy, the real hero of the sequel trilogy, Bobby Frick.
Oh my god, I know where this is going.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know who you're choosing, but I can see the trail of your tone here. So let's see it go.
We need someone who can make the iconic "Hey!" But when I hear that, I hear a New York accent. I hear someone going, "Hey, hey!" The voice of Bobby Frick, Robert De Niro.
You are out of your mind. You are out of your mind. Out of your mind, my friend. But if I can't say keep Star Wars weird and then say you can't do this, because that is weird as hell. And I would love to see Bobby D. Bobby D.
Imagine instead of hey, you get
hey, hey, bad baby.
Try it. No work.
No work. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't, like, that is too much. That is too much. Well, Matty, maybe that might win it for you. Maybe the audience is going to vote for you in that case. So we do have people voting for us. All right, my last one. Probably I should have gone first because it's not as good, but I do think it's a fun one regardless. I went to recast DJ. Benicio del Toro's character. I loved his character. I really wish we'd gotten more from him. I still think there's time. We could still get more from him. He's the kind of character we need. Yeah, I think he's a fun character, but he has that moral gray, that kind of back and forth. And for me, if I want to go with somebody in the 80s now, I mean, I could technically just cast young Benicio del Toro, but I didn't go that way. I went with someone I would love to see in Star Wars that I think would smash it in a minor role like this, like in terms of this. I'm going to one. Christopher Walken. Hey, don't join.
Yes, dude. Yes.
I can get you
Christopher Walken.
The Snokes.
Oh my god.
Boudoir. Snokes
yes.
Boudoir.
Yes. Fuck yes.
I just think that'd be so fun.
And he's got like not the stutter, but like the pauses as well.
That character. Interesting. Yeah. Hey, Finn. You know, I can get you. Hey, the Snokes Boudoir.
You with Christopher Walken, you always know when the double cross is coming. With PJ, you knew that the double cross was coming.
100%. 100% it's coming.
Yes, dude. That is awesome.
There you go. Well, that is it. That is our sequel trilogy recast. In the chat, let us know which one you like better, which film is getting the green light from you as far as the casting goes. And a lot of fun we had doing that. I don't want this to end, so we'll definitely recast Solo and Rogue One, and we also go on and do the shows as well at some point for the hell of it. Why not? We'll have fun with it. Maybe we'll do some timeline things as well. If we do 80s, we'll do Obi-Wan in the 80s or something. We'll do something like that. I kind of like these like little tidbits and caveats we throw out there for sure. But Matty, where can the folks find you?
You can find me on all social media at Matty Mourner. You can find my band Mourner at Mourner Band on all social media. Brand new song titled Truth coming out October 9th. Make sure you go pre-save that. Yeah, that's it. Where do people find you other than on the channel that has your name on the tin?
Yeah, I know a lot of stuff on this channel. Obviously, we do review here every other week. I should say, with Lego, go over the V franchise. Two Mediocre White Dudes on Film. PJ and I are going to finish out John Wick Chapter 4 next week, and then we go on to A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's the horror saga that we both we going back to our roots to finish up the big three. We had Jason, we did Michael. Now we're doing Freddy Krueger. We have the One-Offs, new episode of the One-Offs coming out on Saturday. Myself and Chris Clark had a great episode, great conversation about Billy Joel. It was a lot of fun. I really am liking this. I started off the One-Offs as a show about passions, but it's all been musical so far, and I don't know if that's going to change. I kind of almost want to tweak it, and I might just do music because it just has a good format. We have a good time, and we have a good setup as it going with it. So we'll have to see. We're going to go with that, but that's going to happen on Saturday. That's our monthly podcast we do here, and of course we do the Queen podcast, Crown Jewels, mostly every week. And I'm taking this week off as a break in between the game album before we get into the Flash Gordon soundtrack next week. Still going strong on that. And I think that should do it. I'm all over the web at Paul_Denuzio on Twitter, producing for Christian Harlow, producing for the Rejects, all sorts of things that way. A lot of fun to be had over there, those channels as well. And as always, you want to subscribe, all that kind of stuff here. That does help us fight the almighty algorithm. Leave comments on the audio side of things, which is great. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/PLD Projects. Also,
leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
All that kind of stuff. Great crew over there on Patreon. If you can't join the Patreon, totally understand. I totally get it. Just get some more subs here. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000. We're on that slow but steady train towards 1,000 subscribers on this channel. And I'd love to get there. That'd be a great time for everybody here. I really appreciate you guys. So we will be back next week, as always, with the news and an unknown topic as of yet. We'll have to talk about that off air, and we'll figure it out. But until then, as always, my friends, may the force be with you. Always.